What's the most savage thing you heard a child say to an adult? The other day my 6-year-old daughter was sitting next to me and looked me right in the eye and said, "Why, do you have a mustache?" I'm a woman, by the way. I said something similar when I was about 3 or 4. I was in line with my grandma at the grocery store and some woman was behind us. I looked at her and then very loudly asked my grandmother multiple times, "Grandma, why does that lady have a mustache?" Over and over again. My grandma was mortified, but also it's one of her favorite stories to tell. My mum loves to talk about the time we were at the shops and there was a fat guy in the checkout. I screamed as loud as possible, "Mum, look at that fat man." My 11-year-old sister to one of my friends, "Hey, did you know that if you were to eat a bee, you would have more brains in your stomach than in your head?" A conversation I overheard between my father and sister. My father, "Can your little legs carry your big smart mouth?" My sister, "Can your legs carry your big stomach?" Your sister deserves an award. The last thing my sister said was, "Can I sit in that seat?" Why? Shut up and move. Is your sister a cat? No. Weird. My ex was a heavy dude. He changed his shirt in front of his 4-year-old nephew, who looked at his belly confused and genuinely asked him if his stomach was his butt. This made me actually laugh out loud, so thanks. Were you already laughing quietly? Apparently my phone thinks so. Little girl was dressed as a fast food worker for Halloween, was being given shit by her aunt for her low choice and that she needed to aim higher if she wanted to succeed. Whole thing was really demeaning and weird. Girl fired back with, "I'm only 12. What's your excuse for being poor then?" I'm reminded of the old joke about two colleagues on a break together at work. One of them smoking. "How long have you been smoking for?" The colleague asks. 30 years. Says the smoker. 30 years, marvels the co-worker. That costs so much money. At a pack a day, you're spending $1.900 a year. Had you instead invested that money at an 8% return for the last 30 years, you'd have $250,000 in the bank today. That's enough to buy a Ferrari. The smoker looked puzzled. "Do you smoke?" he asked his co-worker. "No." "So where is your Ferrari?" $197,535. 29. This assumes a constant cost of $205 per day on smokes. Based on $1,900 a G. If we assume the cost of a Ferrari is $250K, he would need to give up smoking for 33 years. Starting in the 80s if we take average. https://www.google.com/amp/s/247 whilst.com/special report /2019/06/19/price of a pack of cigarettes through the decades/amp/pack price by decade. If they had stopped in 1980 and saved accordingly until now, they would have $172,283. 93. Still short of our $250K supercar after 40 years. r/the did Thermouth. I was at a public safety education event for grades 5/6 representing EMS. I was showing a kid some of the advanced things we do, and her teacher asked, "So, would you want to be a paramedic?" Her reply, "No, I'm going to study business. I want to be able to pay my bills." Still kinda stings. "So how long have you been on life support from such a devastating blow?" Good thing the ambulance was already there. Ha. I'd Uber instead of getting an ambulance. That's a thing. People do that. That's fucked but true. Wouldn't you like to know, Ether boy? Where are your parents, little boy? Kid's sketchy. Back to you guys. You should respect your elders. My 5-year-old niece told my mom to calm her tits. Lmao, that was my thing when I was young. She said, "Calm your tits, grand more lol." Man, it was so funny. When I was a kid, I saw Mean Girls. Since I was pretty young, I didn't understand a lot of the words or phrases. So imagine how horrified my mom was when I told my grandma, "Boo, you whore," as a response to not being able to get ice cream or something like that. My grandma thought it was hilarious. My dog's name is Boo. Just a small black terrier. I sometimes call her, so she looks at me and then follow up with "you whore." She probably hates me. My 8-year-old niece-in-law was talking to my brother and me. Since her aunt was dating my brother, she asked me who my girlfriend was. I said I didn't have one. She said, oh, some people are just supposed to be alone, I guess. Gee, thanks. Nieces can be brutal. Mine keep asking me why I've never had a boyfriend. Mine ask me why I had a mustache if I wasn't a boy. RIP. My sister looked at me and said, you look like you're pregnant, but you're not. Fuck. That's a recipe for actually getting pregnant. Fuck. When I was around 4 or 5, we went to Canada to attend my grandfather's funeral. It was a long time coming, so my grandmother had been handling it well. We stayed up there for about 2 weeks after, since it was summer, and we usually spent August up there anyways. But this time, as we were pulling out of the driveway to head back south, I leaned out the window and shouted by Grandma, "Love you. Don't die now." Well, how long did she last past that? She passed away when I was 25. So about 20 more years. I guess I was an inspiration. My 4-year-old daughter told me at dinner not too long ago, "You look nice. You don't look like yourself." Well, thanks, I guess. The other day, when you put on makeup, I was like, there she is. When I was 4 to 5 years old, I was sitting in my stepmom's lap in the car. Good old 90s, when car safety was less of a concern, and I was slapping her leg, uncovered because of her shorts. I said, "It ripples like a pool." I did not realize, until I was older, why she was so offended. Halloween was coming soon. My sister was talking to one of my 5-year-old cousins. "Hey honey, what do you think your mommy should dress like for Halloween?" "A princess." The kid smiled. "She's way too ugly for a princess. Mommy should be a witch." We kept quiet for the rest of the day. Mommy never knew I have the same name as a Disney princess. One time, when I was working as a waitress, a little girl read my name tag and exclaimed, "Wow, my name. Just like the princess. Except princesses are beautiful, and you definitely aren't." Shit's brutal, man. Kids are mean. In a busy store, kid maybe 4 years old getting ignored. Daddy, daddy, dad. 5 seconds later, a great shout comes out. This kid, Steve, that got dad's attention. He jumped 3 inches. Edit. Thanks to r/inconsolable maroon for the award, unexpected but appreciated. Ooh, ouch. Bet that kid was channeling his mom. My son. Asian store. About 6 years ago. Daddy, it smells, and hear me shushing him, trying to get him to shut up. He continues, "It smells worse than you." Mind you, he has no concept for inside voice. Actually laughed out loud to myself. Funny now. Little shit embarrassed me. Now I'm saving up everything to pay him back. And they wonder, as teenagers, why their parents embarrass them so much. Payback. Bitch. Reap what your little 4 to 10 years old ass sowed. Giving my 11-year-old nieces advice before they start middle school. Telling them how mean other tweens can be and that I'm there for them if they need support. One of them responds, "You must have been a real loser in middle school, thanks." They've already got the spirit. My sister, who is 10, walked up to me yesterday, looked my dead in the eye, and said, "Jessie, you're a whore." Completely out of nowhere. Well, now we all know that Jessie is a whore. I thought it was more of a Debbie thing. Debbie is far from my level. Our friend's son said, "Do you know that my dad cannot satisfy my mother? His father wished to disappear at that moment. Someone in the family was pregnant, and my nieces were putting together the facts related to baby making at the time. A light bulb went off, and they noted, oh, so that means so and so had sex. Then, another light bulb went off, and they said to their mom, oh, so that means that you and dad have had sex too." They seemed skeptical, and when further questioned, said dad just doesn't seem like the type of person that would have sex. Apostrophe. I can't stop laughing at this. Was chilling at a wedding. The bridesmaids were sitting there with the 5-year-old flower girl. One of the bridesmaids said she wished she would be the next to get married, and the flower girl said, "No, Becky, you are too ugly to get married." I burst out laughing. "Becky, if you're out there, You're definitely not too ugly to get married. I know an absolute ogre who's happily married to a human man. Wow. Started so nice and became so mean. That's a very fair assessment. I stand by my comment though. Was taking a walk with my sister, who was about 2 at the time, and a man with a big beard and mustache walked past us. My sister turns to me and says, with an expression of, oddly, pure joy, a lady. I was playing The Floor is Lava with my then 4 years old niece. I pretended to start drowning in lava, reaching my hand out to her yelling, please help me. My niece pops her head over the edge of the couch, looks straight into my eyes and whispered, no one is going to save you. I drowned, died, and never played lava with her again. Holy shit, is your child a psychopath? My niece is alright. Likes the villain role in most imaginary play. Mwaahaha sounds better than yai to her. I'm a high school teacher. Once a student came up to me and said, Mies, has anyone told you that you look nice today? I said AWW. Thank you. They haven't. She then said good. I wanted to make sure no one was lying to you. And walked away. High schoolers know better. That's just cruel. No kidding. I hope you were used to it by then, so it didn't sting too much you/Janat. It didn't faze me much. Plus, it was a student that I had a good relationship with. That's teenagers for you. That's good. As a teenager right now, I'm really sorry to hear that someone would say that. Of course. I've lived in areas with heavier discipline, so it's probably different in other areas. Still though, I'm sorry someone had the nerve to say that. My little sister, maybe 4 years old tops, in the elevator at my grandparents' retirement home. Little old lady gets off the elevator and looks back at sees. Bye bye sweetheart. Sees. Bye bye scumbucket. Elevator door closes. Lol. That's brutal. I wasn't there, but I heard the story of when a friend was babysitting his nephew. He was about 6 at the time and played with some sand. Some older guy with a cane was strolling past and asked what he was building. His reply, shut the fuck up before I break your stick and kill you. My friend got extremely apologetic. Talked to his nephew about it and all that jazz. They're Pakistani as well, and he didn't want the old nice guy to think badly of them. And his nephew was usually a polite kid, so that phrase came out of nowhere. Well, if any pedos ever try to bother him, that kid is ready. My sister was a nanny to 2 little girls, ages 2 and 4. She brought them over to my parents' house, and I was just settling in to bake in the sun in my bikini. I opened the deck door to walk outside to greet them, but the door got a little jammed. So I tried to squeeze through, but those freshmen 15 were holding me back a little. Without missing a beat, the 4-year-old turned to her little sister and said in a hushed tone, you see, she can't get through because she's too fat. Apostrophe. Whose size? Large. A group of adults were talking extremely loud about how stupid certain people were, and that includes young kids. One of the person's kids said, at least I know I'm dumb. I think of that kid to this day. Wrecked. My 6-year-old cousin, 4 at the time, told me you wear pajamas in the day because you're a disaster. Apostrophe. Same kid. Same. I was visiting a high-end resort town last month and heard a mother on the sidewalk say, I wish I could retire here, and her son, 8ish, laughed and said, you're never going to retire. Oof. Standing behind a lady with her son about 5 to 6 years old. It was Christmas time and mother told kid to stop acting up or Santa wasn't coming this year. Kid, fuck Santa Claus. I'm sick of hearing about that son of a bitch. I fucking lost it. So, basically you were behind Samuel L. Jackson. He was loud too. I seriously cracked the fuck up. Never heard a little boy yell fuck Santa before. Legendary. Nana says George Bush Sr. and I only have one thing in common. We both hate broccoli. My daughter responds, one day soon, you will have 2 things in common. Apostrophe. I'm imaging this as both an innocent toddler or a surly teenager and I don't know which is better.